What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and this is just sort of like a daily video we're going to try and do. We usually do the talking transfer shows on a Tuesday and a Friday, but obviously Friday we didn't because the match preview come out, and we could do what we call like these talking transfer shows. But if this is the middle of the summer, there's going to be loads of content, so we're going to sort of define that show, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming up to this channel following John's announcement that he will be no longer making or being part of tons of videos on this channel. He will still occasionally pop in, but it won't be as scripted, as organised as usually before, and that's fine. John's got a family, we've got to appreciate that and understand that. Anyway, let's talk about some, I would say, some fairly good news, I would say, things I'd like to see. And certainly, former Everton defender Michael Ballers came out and said very clearly that the first signing that he thinks or would like Everton to make is Max AARONS. Now, this is a player that we all know. He lit up the Premier League 2 years ago. He's probably going to light up the Premier League again this season. He was a very, very good ball-carrying right back who had the ability to beat people, deliver a cross, but equally could defend, had an engine, can just carry the ball really well, and that works really well for what Everton want to do, and certainly what Carlo wants to do. You know, I sort of see Carlo wanting to get Luca Dean and Max AARONS bombing up the pitch, allowing for Alan to drop in deeper and maybe another midfielder that he may bring in, and that allows us to play with a little bit more aggression further up the pitch, a little bit more in their half, because it's fair to say that Everton have pretty much been camped in our own half for most of the games, always having less possession really by the first 4 or 5 games of the season, and it's kind of good to see that we look like we're going to address that really early. My only issue with this is the fact that the transfer window still doesn't open for another 2 weeks. And we've got the Euros a week later. Now, I know for certain players that's not going to affect them, other players that we've potentially been linked with, but we do need these players in early, because I've said it before, and I seem to say every season with Marcel Brands, he doesn't get them in early enough, in my opinion. He gets them in far too late. Last season, it was 3 signings within 3 days, and I think that was within 3 games. I think that was within 7 days of the season starting, or within 10 days, because I know we had a friendly against Blackpool, and I seem to remember one of them playing or something. Anyway, the facts are we need to get these players in early, and that's important for Everton right now, because we need to build, and we've got this Euros in the middle, then we've got a Premier League season to start. These players haven't really had a break now for 2 years, certainly the ones that get called up on international duty, so they're going to need a break, and getting them in early at least gives them a little bit of time. Yes, they'll be on holiday, but it gives them a little bit of time to say, yeah, right, I'm going to be an Everton player next season, and this is what is expected of me. And these young players that we really want to be in for, these are going to be the types of players that I really think can push us next season. Look, I'm not going to sit here with a smoking gun and say Everton are going to finish 4th, 5th, 6th or 7th. I don't know what our transfer window holds yet. We all can be excited by the sort of players that we're going to sign, but we have just come off the back of, in my opinion, one of the most frustrating Premier League seasons I certainly remember as a football fan, because there were so many ups but then so many lost opportunities. Literally every single game we seemed to lose at home was a lost opportunity. And actually, if you actually look at the Premier League table, it actually was. All Everton needed was 4 points to get into the European Conference League. They only needed 6 points and plus a bit more goals to get into the Europa League. And then on top of that, they only needed 7 points or 8 points to get into the Champions League. And when you look at the games Everton lost against the games that we won, you know, we went to Arsenal, we went to Spurs, we give good occasions at Manchester United, we beat Liverpool at Anfield. You know, we did okay this season at the big 6 clubs, we really did, yet we did really poor against the teams that got relegated. And bearing in mind that out of Sheffield United, Fulham and West Brom, we only took 6 points off one of them. The other two took 3 points off us, both of them being at home. So Everton need to identify this going forward. Another little bit of news is Moise Kean. It looks like he has, well, he set his heart on staying at PSG, and we already know that. But what it was quite funny about this is PSG have come out via L'Equipe. I can never say the name of the newspaper, but they've come out and said that they want to pay us 25 to 30 million euros for Moise Kean. And I'm categorically telling you now that if Everton accept anything less than 45, it doesn't make sense. You know, I think Everton have got to pay 20% back to Juventus, where we signed him from. So that would make 6 million euros. And we signed him for 30. It sort of doesn't make sense. You know, if it's 10 or 20% or 15%, you know, as I say, it's in between, you know, 4.5 to 9 million euros that we'd have to pay Juventus. So we make no money out of a player that is very good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. You know, when you look at the fact that Everton only managed to score something like 45 goals this season, Moise Kean went and got 16 at PSG. Now, I'm not saying the Premier League was fine for him, but what I am saying is he was another option that we essentially just let walk out of our door while we kept players like Iwobi and Bernard, who can play in them forward, left and right positions, who do a lot less than Moise Kean does. So I'm not saying it would have worked, but I'm saying it was an option. You know, there's a front three of Moise Kean, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. Certainly puts more fear into me when we've got them three, and then maybe a James Rodriguez in behind and a pivot of Allen and Decore with a centre-back in Ben Godfrey alongside a Mina with a Luca Dean. And yes, look, we're going to have to play Coleman or Holgate because that wasn't addressed in the summer poorly, in my opinion, which Marcel Brands, at this moment in time, he does leave a little bit for me to be desired, but you know, he had a decent window last season. He's got to have a good one this season. But I'm still on the fence regarding the 2 years prior. Everton could have been a hell of a side, a hell of an attacking, aggressive side. And look, we were conceding goals at the start of the season, but we were scoring. And I really do think that mentality sort of wore off. I don't know what happened. But those front three and James Rodriguez could have been really dangerous. However, it does look like he's going to be staying in France. I think he wants that move. I think it's abundantly obvious he wants that move. And okay, fine. Other players we've been linked with today is Emi Buendia from Norwich and Basuma. Basuma, apparently 5 clubs are in for him. One being Arsenal, one being Liverpool, one potentially being Spurs, and one being Everton. Basuma's a hell of a player. Like, he's a hell of a player. He could play for anyone in the Premier League, in my opinion. He's got the energy, the pace, the drive, the youth. He's just got everything. And I can't see Everton signing him, but it would be a massive coup if we did. You know, it really would. He's the sort of player that I think Everton, if Everton could get him, it would just be a great signing. But he's going to cost a lot of money. He's got friends at Arsenal. He's friends with Pepe, I believe, and he's friends with. There is a couple of Arsenal players that he's friends with. So Basuma, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if he did go to someone like Arsenal rather than obviously Everton and some of the others. And yeah, look, it's about it. I mean, John rang me up about an hour ago and he said, Mike, apparently, according to the news or wherever he got it from, because obviously I don't check all the time, he said, apparently we're going to do 4 huge pieces of business this season. And that's great. And I don't want to sound negative about that because we definitely need quality signings. But as I said, I'm going to be much happier if they're younger, hungrier players who have got a point to prove than players who have been there and done it, who will drop tools when they need to and when they want. And I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. Yeah, that is about it, guys. Hopefully we go and sign players early. But yeah, for me, Ben Godfrey, bringing his friend Max Aarons to Everton Football Club would be a particularly fantastic start to our summer recruitment drive. I suspect we'll spend big. I think we have to spend big. I think we can offset a lot of it. You know, we were talking about financial fair play. look, we can offset a fair bit of it if we can get rid of some of the players on our books. There's a few wages that are going to come off the books as well. You know, you've got some big wages. Hopefully Bernard will be up for sale. He'll go. Iwobi, Touchwood can go. Besic will be leaving. Yes, he's not on big wages, but I think it's still 35 to 40 grand a week. John Joe Kenny. All of this is bringing up transfer fees and potential money into the club. You know, Moise Kean will go. Maybe we didn't pay his salary, but we'll certainly get a lump of cash for his, you know, for the fact that he's been sold. So, yeah, look, it could be a very expensive window for Everton and Farhad Moshiri, but genuinely, this club needs rebuilding. You know, the under-18s, I think they finished 6th in their league. The under-23s, I think they finished 5th in their league, or the other way around. You know, this club is a mess at the minute. Let's not sugarcoat it. This club is a mess. You've got fans having a go at fans on social media. You've got people saying that Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a good or a bad season. You know, 16 goals with no penalties, with only 45 shots on target. I think he's had a good season. But can he improve? Absolutely. You know, his one-on-one's been poor. Can he improve? Absolutely. You know, and there's players in this team that have had poor seasons. Mason Holgate, I think you could throw Richarlison in there as well. I think he's not had a great season. I don't think, I mean, I know some people disagree with this, but I certainly don't think this has been Michael Keane's best season by any stretch of anyone's imagination. So there's a few players that have got to pull their socks up if they're going to have an Everton future, in my opinion. But look, season's done. That heartache, that pain, that all of the stuff that come with that is done. So, positive. There will be a player ratings video coming out tonight. Jordan Pickford, I want you to just bear in mind about his rating, because please remember that Jordan Pickford at the start of the season was awful. And then towards the end of the season, he's become fantastic. So, he's going to have a very medium range rating, but please remember that he was fantastic at the end of the season. So if it was based on just that, he'd be getting a much higher score than what I'm going to give him. But yeah, there's going to be some brutal honesty in that video. That video will be out about 8 o'clock. So guys, enjoy it. This is sort of just an uncut video straight on the channel. Hope you enjoy it. Try and do these lunchtime specials. This one was recorded at 8:45 in the morning. So, there you go. Guys, I'll see you soon.